Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents 401ks and IRAs for Dummies by Ted Benna with Brenda Newman. Narrated by Suzie Althens. Publisher's note. In this audio edition, you will hear references to figures and tables present in the print and e-book formats of the book. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. While the publisher and authors have used their best efforts in preparing this work, they make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this work, and specifically disclaim all warranties, including, without limitation, any implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales representatives, written sales materials, or promotional statements for this work. The fact that an organization, website, or product is referred to in this work as a citation and/or potential source of further information does not mean that the publisher and authors endorse the information or services the organization, website, or product may provide, or recommendations it may make. This work is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering professional services. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for your situation. You should consult with a specialist where appropriate. Further, readers should be aware that websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is read. Neither the publisher nor authors shall be liable for any loss of profit or any other commercial damages, including, but not limited to special, incidental, consequential, or other damages. Introduction. Bumper stickers I love to see. I'd rather be managing my 401k. And honk if you love your IRA. Made you snicker? I agree. Most of us have better things to do with our time than planning for retirement. You probably wouldn't rather be managing your retirement accounts. You'd rather take in a movie, watch a ball game, or pursue your favorite hobby. But it's hard to enjoy yourself if you're plagued by a nagging worry that you could end up destitute in retirement. Spending some time thinking about and planning for your retirement can pay you big dividends down the road. The concept of retirement has changed dramatically over the last decade or so. Social Security seems less than secure, and it was never meant to cover all your retirement needs anyway. Most people can't count on receiving a traditional fixed pension from their employer. The burden of retirement planning falls squarely on your shoulders at a time when you're living longer and need more money to finance retirement. I have good news for you. Although you do have to take responsibility for your own retirement saving, you don't have to let retirement planning take over your life. Investing a bit of time now, in ways I explain in this book, should enable you to eventually sit back and relax. There are lots of places where you can find basic information about all the different types of 401k and IRA plans. But finding insight into which one may be best for your business is challenging. I include that in this book. I also include ways I have found to utilize these plans to provide benefits comparable to a 401k without all the fees and complications of a 401k. About this book. Don't let the title fool you. 401ks and IRAs for Dummies is a useful book that explains the basic rules, and even some obscure ones, about various retirement account options. I include information that's completely up to date, including new rules that went into effect in 2020 with the enactment of the Secure Act, which adds some benefits to 401k plan participants. The CARES Act was passed in 2020 in response to the COVID-19 crisis. This book explains essential 401k and IRA rules in easy-to-understand language so that you can manage your retirement accounts in a way that leaves you better off in the long run. This book also explains how to manage risk in your investments and minimize the chances of big losses. I give examples to show why you should start saving for retirement as soon as you can, because the longer your money stays in your 401k and IRA, the bigger your potential nest egg. In fact, if you take only one message away from this book, I hope that it's save as much as you can as early as you can and invest it sensibly. I explain basic principles of long-term investing to help you decide which investment options are right for you. I also give you guidelines to figure out how much you need to save for retirement, and then, after you retire, how to manage withdrawals from your accounts so that your money can last. These are important concepts for 401k and IRA investors, but they're equally important for everyone else. Warning: I have to say this loud and clear. Nothing in this book should be taken as tax advice or investment advice for your specific situation. Everyone is unique, and all I can do is explain some of the more important rules and give you guidance to help you make your own decisions. Also, because the rules are so complicated, I explain the general rules, but leave some of the more technical exceptions to your own expert advisors. I know that most people want someone to tell them exactly what to do, but our lawyers won't let me do that. You need to consult an investment advisor or tax advisor for advice on your specific situation. But rest assured, reading this book will help you understand the advice that you receive and may save you money by enabling you to have fewer and shorter meetings with your advisors. I explain things in a way that's easy to understand. I go into as much detail as necessary for a basic understanding, but no more, and I refer you to additional resources. And heck, I created the first 401k plan. How much more authoritative can you get? To make the content more accessible, it's divided into 6 parts. Part 1. The ABCs of 401ks and IRAs. Part 2. 401k Basics. Part 3. Here come the IRAs. Part 4. Saving and Investing. Part 5. Money in, Money out. Part 6. Helping Small Employers. Part 7. The Part of Tens. I think the titles are pretty self-explanatory, but if you're wondering what a part contains, check out the part page at the beginning of that part for a quick glimpse of the contents. Foolish Assumptions. This book is for readers who are either thinking about participating in a 401k, IRA, or other retirement plan, or who already are participating in a retirement plan but have doubts about what they're doing. I assume that you have an idea that it's important to save for retirement, but you're not sure whether you're doing it right or how to get started. You may also be self-employed or a small business owner looking for options for your own retirement plan and to start a plan for your employees. I try to make things as simple as possible, but I can't avoid throwing in some math. I assume that you understand some basic economic principles, such as inflation and earning a return on an investment. For more information about the general investing concepts I cover, I recommend the latest editions of Investing for Dummies and Mutual Funds for Dummies, both by Eric Tyson, Wiley Publishing Incorporated, as well as other resources listed throughout the book. Icons used in this book. Throughout this book, you'll find helpful icons that highlight particularly useful information. Here's a quick rundown on what they all mean. Tip: pay attention to this because it may save you time, money, or aggravation. Remember, importantissimo. Commit this information to memory. Warning: ignoring this information may result in painful financial consequences. Technical stuff. You don't have to know this detailed information, but it wouldn't hurt. Skip it if you're in a hurry or not interested. There aren't many of these. Beyond the book. In addition to the abundance of information and guidance related to retirement plans in this book, you get access to even more help and information online at dummies.com. Check out this book's online cheat sheet for fun and helpful additional information. Just go to dummies.com and search for 401ks and IRAs for Dummies cheat sheet. Where to go from here? The beauty of 401ks and IRAs for Dummies is that I've organized it so that you can start reading anywhere without risking total confusion. Here are a few suggested starting points, depending on why you picked up the book. If you're completely new to the subject, start at the top with Chapter 1 to get an overview of retirement saving and plans. If you're changing jobs and want to know what to do with the money in your employer's 401k plan, head to Chapter 7. If you need to take money out of your 401k for an emergency, to put a down payment on a home, or to pay for college expenses, you can find information to help in Chapter 14. If you're just starting to realize the need and benefits of saving for retirement, go to Chapter 11. If you need knowledge about investments and investing, Chapters 13 and 14 are the place to go. If you're entirely happy with your retirement fund and the investments in it, give a copy of this book to someone who isn't. Something else you'll find in this book that you probably won't find elsewhere is the section on retirement plans from an employer's point of view, with tips for small business owners on choosing a plan. This isn't easy because there are so many options. 1. The ABCs of 401ks and IRAs. In this part, explore the reasons for tax-advantaged retirement plans and compare and contrast the two basic types, 401ks and IRAs. See how and how much you can benefit from tax considerations when you invest in your future through an IRA or 401k. Continue planning for the future by naming beneficiaries to your retirement plans and figuring out how best to pass along your money to benefit both you and them. Chapter 1. Explaining IRAs and 401ks. In this chapter, finding out about 401ks and IRAs, recognizing the pros and cons of each, seeing the benefits of saving for retirement. My primary goal is to help people concerned about having enough money to successfully retire, even young people for whom retirement would normally be low on the priority list have jumped on the retirement savings bandwagon. They're the smart ones, because in some respects, how long you save is more important than how much you save. Looking forward to not having to work is a worthy goal, but remember the paychecks cease when you stop working. Having enough income to sustain yourself during the next 20 to 30 years isn't easy. Your plans may be disrupted before you reach your planned retirement age. The current COVID-19 pandemic is an example. Exploring the basics of retirement savings plans. A retirement plan lets you put some of your income away now to use later, presumably when you're retired and not earning a paycheck. This process may not appeal to everyone. Human nature being what it is, many people would rather spend their money now and worry about later when later comes. That's why the federal government approved tax breaks to enjoy now, or in April anyway. Uncle Sam knows that your individual savings are going to be an essential part of your retirement and wants to give you an incentive to participate. Currently, you have several options for saving for your retirement. Joining a 401k plan, which is an employer-sponsored plan that takes an amount you determine out of your paycheck, or automatically enrolls you to contribute and deposits your contributions into your 401k account. Starting an IRA, an individual retirement account, on your own, and determining your contribution amount and schedule on your own. Joining an IRA-based employer-sponsored retirement plan that takes an amount you determine out of your paycheck and deposits your contributions into an IRA. Your employer automatically contributes a percentage of your pay to a retirement plan. If you're a solo entrepreneur, setting up a 401k or IRA-based plan that may include either employee contributions, employer contributions, or both. I guess you can open a savings account and put money into that, or stick money under your mattress, but neither of these methods will beat 30 to 40 years of inflation, and the mattress method is open to many hazards: fire, flood, boll weevils, and so on. You also won't get any tax breaks, unless you're hiding money that hasn't been taxed, in which case you'll probably have legal problems to worry about. The next sections explain both 401k and IRA plans. Getting down to 401k basics. When you sign up for a 401k plan, you agree to let your employer deposit some of your paycheck into the plan as a pre-tax contribution or as a Roth after-tax contribution, or a combination of the two. You put money into your 401k plan through a payroll deduction. Your employer is also permitted to sign you up without your approval, but you have the right to override the percentage you're automatically enrolled to contribute, including totally opting out. Your employer is required to give you advance notice before automatically enrolling you. The beauty of a 401k is that it makes saving easy and automatic, and you probably won't even miss the money you put into your retirement account. I cover the 4 types of 401ks in this book. A regular 401k is sponsored by your employer. Your 401k is funded by contributions deducted from your paycheck and deposited into your account. Check out the chapters in Part 2 for information about regular 401ks. Several types of 401k serve the self-employed and other small business owners. I go into detail about the following plans in Chapter 19. Safe Harbor 401k, Solo 401k, Qualified Automatic Contribution Arrangement, QACA 401k. Your employer may set up its own 401k, or adopt one using a pooled plan provider, PPP, to set up a pooled employer plan, PEP, or become part of a multi-employer plan, MEP. I cover the different rules for these plans in Chapter 19. Remember, your employer may throw in some extra money known as a matching contribution. You don't pay federal income tax on any 401k money until you withdraw it. 401k plans are like snowflakes. Each one is unique. If you're looking for a standard 401k plan, be aware that there's no such animal. Each company creates its own plan, and some are better than others. Part 2 goes into detail about all the aspects of 401ks. Federal laws govern many aspects of 401k plans, but employers are allowed to be more restrictive with their own plan rules. For example, the contributions your employer allows may be less than what Uncle Sam permits. Technical stuff. The 401k gets its memorable name from the section of Internal Revenue Code, IRC, that governs it. Section 401 of the IRC applies to pension, profit sharing, and stock bonus plans. A 401k plan must satisfy the IRC in both form and operation to be a qualified plan. The rules and regulations governing these plans are massive and complex. Fortunately, your employer deals with making sure the plan you're offered meets IRC standards. You just have to worry about upholding your end of the arrangement, which this book helps you do. To meet IRC standards, an employee must adopt a lengthy plan document, 150 to 175 pages, and have it approved by the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. The document specifies who's eligible to join the plan, when they're eligible, how much eligible employees may contribute, the type and amount of any employer contributions, when the employer contribution belongs to the participant. Each plan's operation must satisfy all the applicable rules and regulations. This includes legislative requirements enacted by Congress and regulations issued by the governmental agencies that have jurisdiction, which include the Treasury Department, the Department of Labor, DOL, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The IRS and DOL conduct audits to determine whether an employer is in full compliance. Introducing IRAs. An IRA, or Individual Retirement Account, is a tax-advantaged way to save for retirement. This is how the government helps workers save for retirement whenever their employers don't offer a retirement plan. This book includes information about all the different types of IRAs. Traditional IRA, Roth IRA, Spousal IRA, Rollover Conduit IRA, Inherited IRA. Head to Part 3 for details about all these IRAs. The eligibility rules for a pre-tax traditional IRA depend on whether you or your spouse are covered by an employee-sponsored retirement plan. Otherwise, anyone with an earned income can open a traditional IRA. I cover tax issues and tax terms in Chapter 2. With a traditional IRA, you can make contributions on your own anytime up to the date you file your tax return and claim a deduction for your contributions. You don't get a tax deduction when you contribute to a Roth IRA. Both a traditional IRA and Roth IRA are invested at a financial institution you select. Your money grows without being taxed with both types of IRA. All withdrawals from a traditional IRA are taxable, and a 10% penalty tax is imposed if you withdraw the money prior to age 59.5 for any reason other than those that exclude you from the penalty tax. Withdrawals from a Roth IRA aren't taxable if you follow the rules. You may be surprised to hear that your author, known as the father of 401k, thinks there are better alternatives to a 401k for solo entrepreneurs, small family businesses, and many other small employers. These IRA-based plans include the following: Payroll Deduction IRA, SEP IRA, Simple IRA. Chapter 18 includes detailed information about these plans, including why they may be better than a 401k. A little retirement history. Did you know that IRAs were permitted long before 401ks? What you know as a traditional pre-tax IRA was included in the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, ERISA, passed by Congress on September 2, 1974. That IRAs were included in ERISA is especially surprising, because ERISA's primary purpose was to strengthen the defined benefit pension system. Originally, you could own an IRA only if you weren't covered by an employer-sponsored retirement plan. If you were covered by an employer-sponsored plan, no matter how many or how few benefits the plan provided, you were not eligible to contribute to an IRA. For example, you can lose all the benefits you earned under an employer-provided pension plan if you left before completing 20 years of service. Or, you may have been a participant in an employer-funded profit-sharing plan by an employer that did not make any contributions to the plan, or perhaps only small contributions. The 1981 Economic Recovery Tax Act removed the inequity of such situations, resulting in the expansion of IRAs to most individuals who have earned income, including those covered by employer-sponsored plans. The Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997 added an additional option: Roth after-tax IRAs. Another step was to expand the Roth option by adding it to 401ks during 2006, giving 401k participants the option of making pre-tax contributions, Roth after-tax contributions, or some of each. The traditional IRA and Roth IRA have income thresholds that make higher income earners ineligible to contribute. Participants in 401ks are eligible to make Roth contributions regardless of how high their incomes are. Comparing and contrasting IRAs and 401ks. IRAs and 401ks are both retirement savings plans, but after that, the resemblance gets dim. Both plans offer pre-tax contribution options, a saver's tax credit for employees who contribute subject to income limits. Chapter 2 lists the credits and restrictions. The ability to grow your money tax-free until you withdraw it. Contrasts between 401ks and IRAs are numerous and include the following. An IRA generally offers more investment choices than a 401k. Depending on how much choice you like to have, this can be good or bad. Your employer picks the investments offered in a 401k, so your options with a 401k are limited, unless your plan includes a brokerage option compared with the range of investment vehicles you can find for an individual IRA. A 401k is thus a disadvantage if you prefer total investment flexibility. On the positive side, your employer is supposed to select investments that are in the sole best interest of participants. Some employers strive to do this, but many don't. Many employers have, in fact, been sued for failing to do so. If you have money in a 401k plan, you can be forced to withdraw the money when you reach the plan's normal retirement age, usually 65, unless you're still working for that employer. With a traditional IRA, you're required to start taking minimum distributions only after you turn 72. A Roth IRA never requires you to take withdrawals unless you inherited it. Money held in a 401k may be more secure from your creditors than money in an IRA. IRA protection depends on state law, while 401ks are protected by federal law. 401k and employer-sponsored IRA plans may include an employer contribution. Whatever amount your employer contributes is a bonus you don't get with a personal IRA. Federal laws govern many aspects of 401k plans, but employers are allowed to be more restrictive with their plan rules. For example, the contributions your employer allows may be less than what Uncle Sam permits. Starting the first 401k plan. Paragraph K was added to Section 401 via the Tax Revenue Act of 1978. It was only a page and a half long, and it certainly was not expected to be a big deal. It was added by Congress to resolve a battle between Congress and the Treasury over cash-deferred profit-sharing plans. The effective date of this new IRC paragraph was January 1, 1980. This date passed without a rush of employers implementing these plans. I was redesigning the retirement program of a Philadelphia area bank during the fall of 1980. I was drawn to this section of the code as I was considering what the bank was trying to accomplish. It was during this process that I came up with the idea of using this section of the IRC to form a new type of employee retirement savings plan, one with an employer matching contribution and employee pre-tax contributions. Section 401k did not include a provision for either type of contribution, but it also did not prohibit them. The bank's attorney did not want them to be the pioneers adopting the first 401k savings plan. I was part of the Johnson companies at the time. We implemented the first 401k savings plan for our employees, effective January 1, 1981, a year after Section 401k's effective date. This started the launch of employee pre-tax 401k plans. Millions of workers have already retired and are enjoying their 401k benefits, and millions of active workers are contributing to their plans. However, more than half the private workforce works for employers that do not offer a 401k or any other retirement plan. Accentuating the positive. Saving for your own retirement may seem like an unnecessary irritation, but it's very rewarding when you reach the age when you need it. Facing retirement with your own...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?